السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا رسول الله وآله وصحبه من والاه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. وبعد، فمع كتاب الله عز وجل ومع الجزء التاسع والعشرين. Inshallah ta'ala, tonight we're going to discuss juz number 29th. We are in the 29th night. That's the second last juz. And as you know, inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow we have our fundraiser at the same time of the halaqah. So I'm going to give the summary of the last juz, inshallah ta'ala, of the Quran tomorrow at Jum'ah time. You know, for people who attend my Friday khutbah, it's at 1:30. So what I'm going to do is now we're going to discuss juz number 29 as normal. And inshallah ta'ala, for number 30, we're going to discuss it tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. At Jum'ah time, inshallah ta'ala. And after I just to give the lessons in the last juz of the Quran, we're going, inshallah ta'ala, to answer your questions as well in the, tomorrow at the Jum'ah talk. I think it's the best option that we have, because I wanted to talk about the 29th and the 30th, and then I found out it's actually almost impossible because we still have lessons in the last juz that I want to reflect on, and we cannot just put two juz together like that. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, barakallah fikum. It's actually, we have done a lot of work, mashallah ta'ala. It's a very good series, very good journey together throughout the whole Quran, from the first night till the last night. Allahumma laka alhamdu ya rabbil alameen. We didn't skip any night, we didn't skip any juz. That's a huge blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He allowed us to be able to do all that. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma laka alhamdu ya rabbil alameen. طيب. The first surah that we have in juz number 29 is Surah Al-Mulk. Surah Al-Mulk. And Al-Mulk means the authority. Not only the authority, it's all the authority, the whole authority. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of His names is Al-Malik, is the king. And one of His other names is Al-Malik, the owner of this world. And this surah is called Al-Mulk, the authority. And you know, the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are called Malaika. Malaika, it all comes from the same root. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has authority over everything. And the first lesson I'm going to mention here in this surah, and please pay attention to this beautiful lesson, in ayah number 10 and 11. In ayah number 10 and 11, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us that we need to give ourselves the chance to listen to what the other person wants to say. And we need to allow ourselves to listen and to reflect and ponder. Pondering and reflecting on Allah's creation subhanahu wa ta'ala is an obligation. It's not only something that we do to reflect on Allah's creation to increase our iman, it's also an obligation. When somebody tells me something in a halaqah or in a lecture or outside of all this, he's talking about religion or any other topic, I need to listen and reason and reflect. And that's an obligation, and instead of following blindly. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here, one of the main sins, one of the main mistakes of the people in the hellfire, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us, Ya Rabbil Alameen, from the hellfire. One of their main sins is that they did not use to reason and think. They used to follow blindly. And also they did not allow themselves to listen to the truth. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. And the people of the hellfire, may Allah protect all of us, Ya Rab, they will say, regretting their sins that they have done in the dunya, they will say, if only we had listened and reasoned, we wouldn't be among the residents of the blaze. Subhanallah al-Azim. If only we allowed ourselves to listen, if only we allowed ourselves to reason, if only we allowed ourselves to reflect on what's being said, we wouldn't be amongst the people of the hellfire. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the next ayah immediately, فَاعْتَرَفُوا بِذَنْبِهِمْ. They will confess their sins. They are acknowledging that they have done some major sin in this dunya, that they didn't used to listen and reason. فَاعْتَرَفُوا بِذَنْبِهِمْ فَسُحْقًا لِأَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. So away with the residents of the blaze. So the first reason that we have here is what we have been doing since the beginning of Ramadan. That we allowed ourselves to not only listen to the Quran, but also to reflect. نعقل نسمع ونعقل. So that's the first lesson. Please don't forget it. It's an extremely important lesson in our life. Listening, giving ourselves the chance to listen to what's being said, and also reflecting before we act according to whatever is being said. One of the major sins of the people of the hellfire is that you don't reflect on what's being said before they start implementing things. The second lesson that we have here, that you can see in Surah Tabarak, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Allah's infinite power is manifested throughout His perfect creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can find this, for example, in Ayah Number 3 and 4, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the heavens and the creation of the heavens, and He's asking us to look and reflect, and He says, look again and again, do you see any imperfection in Allah's creation? فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور. Look again at the sky. When you go outside and walk, when you're driving, look at the sky and reflect. Do you see any imperfection in Allah's creation? فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين. Go look again and again and reflect again. Do you see any imperfection in Allah's creation? So Allah's talking about here the creation of the heavens, and He also talks about the stars and how He made them as a kind of adornment for the heavens. وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحِ. He called the stars that we see in the heavens like lamps that He subhanahu wa ta'ala placed in the heavens or in the sky to make it beautiful, to adorn the sky. For example, Ayah number 15 to Ayah number 19, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the creation of the earth. And then He says, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ ذَلُولًا. Look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the creation of the earth. هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ ذَلُولًا. Allah is the one who smoothed out the earth for you. He is the one who smoothed out the earth for you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then He mentioned the reason why He created the earth, and why He paved the earth for us, and why He smoothed it out for us, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا. You need to move about its regions and eat from Allah's provision. Scholars use this ayah as one of the evidences on the obligation of going to work, the obligation of walking on earth and traveling the land to seek from Allah's provision. One of the obligations of, one of the reasons why the scholar said it's obligatory on every single person to stand up and try to find some sort of job or work to provide for himself and for his family, because Allah said, I have created the earth for you and smoothed the earth out for you for one reason, فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا. So you can walk in its regions and seek from Allah's provision. وَإِلَيْهِ أَنْشُرْ. The next lesson that we can see here is in Surah Al-Qalam. Surah Al-Qalam, Al-Qalam is the pen. That's a pencil, by the way. Al-Qalam is the pen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to teach us the importance of learning and teaching and seeking knowledge and educating people. He talked about the importance of the pen, that's a pencil again, and the importance of what people write. He's talking about the importance of the word that can change the world. By pronouncing one word, a human being can become a Muslim. And by denying one word, a human being can leave this religion. By pronouncing one word, you can make someone feel better, or you can make someone feel bad. By pronouncing one word, people can start or waging wars against each other. They can stop wars against each other and establish peace in the world. One word. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the first ayah. Noon wal-qalami wa-ma yasturun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath by the pen and what everyone writes, subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the first ayah, Noon wal-qalami wa-ma yasturun. The theme of Surah Al-Qalam is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about the importance of good conduct and good manners, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why He talked about the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you are truly a man of outstanding character, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. A lot of people can have good manners, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam extraordinary characters, personality alayhi salam. His personality, his manners are extraordinary. They are beyond our belief, beyond our capacity. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave an example of a person who had bad manners in the surah to avoid. So the whole theme of Surah Al-Qalam is about good manners. Allah started by talking about His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his good manners. And then He talked about one of the people who had bad manners that we need to avoid them. قال رجل وَلَا تُطِعْ كُلَّ حَلَّافٍ مَهِينٍ. Do not obey كُلَّ حَلَّافٍ مَهِينٍ. حَلَّافٍ مَهِينٍ is the person who makes a lot of oaths, and then he breaks his oaths with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a part of the bad manners that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning us here to do. We're not supposed to be halaf, the one who takes a lot of oaths by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then he breaks them. Halafin mahin. He doesn't really pay a lot of attention to his oaths. He just makes a lot of oaths when he speaks. Halafin mahin. Hammazin masha'in binamim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went even farther to describe that person, and He said he is Hammaz. Hammazin masha'in binamim, withholder of good, transgressor and evildoer. Manna'in lil khayri mu'tadin athim, withholder of good, transgressor and evildoer. Utullim ba'da dhalika zanim an kana dha mali wa banin. And the scholars of tafsir say, in this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Al-Walid ibn Mughira. But of course, al-ibratu bi'umum al-lafz la bi khusus al-sabab. So even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about a certain person here, He has given us a lesson for everyone, even after the passing of Al-Walid ibn Mughira, to avoid these bad qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in these ayat in Surah Al-Qalam 10 to 13. Then if you go to Surah Al-Haqqa and Surah Al-Ma'arij, the main theme of Surah Al-Haqqa and Al-Ma'arij together is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about the resurrection and the horrors of the Day of Judgment. The word Al-Haqqa, it comes from the word Haqq. And Haqq is the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the Day of Judgment, and He's using one of its names is Al-Haqqa. And Al-Haqq is the truth. So He wants to tell us there's an indication here in this name of one of the names of the Judgment Day that it's coming, and there is no doubt about that day it's coming. Al-Haqqa, the inevitable hour. Al-Haqqa, Mal-Haqqa, Wama Adraka Mal-Haqqa. So one of the names of the Day of Judgment is Al-Haqqa, to give us an indication or a feeling that it's going to happen and there is no doubt about the Day of Judgment. That's the main theme of Surah Al-Haqqa and Surah Al-Ma'arij. Also in Surah Al-Haqqa and Surah Al-Ma'arij, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the destiny of the evildoers and the rewards of the righteous people. And there is a beautiful comparison here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave in ayat 25 to 37. From 25 to 37, Allah is giving a comparison between the people who are going to be given their books with their right hands, the righteous people, and some other people are going to be given their books with their, they are going to receive it by their left hands. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ. Verse 25. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أُوتَ كِتَابِيَهِ. When he receives his book with his left hand, he would say, I wish I had not been given my record. In some other places of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. He is going to receive his book from behind his back. So is there any contradiction between these two ayats? One ayat is saying the evildoers are going to receive their books with their left hands, and some other surahs are saying they are going to receive their books from behind their backs. The scholars of tafsir say, to combine between these two ayat, they are going to receive their records with their left hands, and once they receive it, they're going to hide it immediately behind their backs because they are very ashamed of receiving them with their left hands. So again, this scene is going to happen in the day of Qiyam. Some people are going to receive their books with their right hands that are going to be proud of themselves. من أوتي كتابه بيمينه فيقول هاؤم اقرءوا كتابيه. He will be running happily in the land of gathering in front of everyone and wants to show people his book with his right hand. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the people who will receive their books with their right hands. Allahumma ameen ya rabbal alameen. And on the other hand, the wrongdoers, they're going to be receiving their books with their left hands. And once they receive it, he will immediately hide it behind his back. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one time he said, أَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ, they receive with their left hands. And in some other place he said, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ, from behind his back. So in Surah Al-Ma'arij and Surah Al-Haqqah, the main themes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the horrors of the day of judgment, and some of the punishments that the wrongdoers are going to be receiving, and some of the words of the people who used to do good in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst the people of the right, not from the people of the left. Allahumma ameen ya rabbal alameen. In Surah Al-Ma'arij, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about some of the qualities of the true believers. If you go to Ayah 19, from Ayah 19 to Ayah 35, from Ayah 19 to Ayah 35. Allah's talking about our nature, and after he talked about our nature, he talked about the good qualities of the true believers. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. It's rooted inside of us that human beings are impatient, and that's why we always remind each other of patience. That's why in the Quran we have a lot of ayat about patience, because our nature is not to be patient. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. Impatient. And also the word هَلُوع, it comes from the root هَلَع. And هَلَع is the horrors. When someone is extremely scared, he is هَلَع. هَلَع. When somebody is scared of something. Look, when the pandemic happened, everybody now is scared. Everybody's staying at home. Everybody's scared to have this COVID-19. Everybody's scared for his family, for his parents, for himself first and foremost. That's our nature. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is teaching us how to have comfort. If you want comfort throughout this pandemic, throughout any other difficult time, if you want to overcome this quality inside of you as a human being of being halua, of being impatient, of being scared of things that scare you around you, Allah said, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا. The human being is distressed when touched with evil. And as I said, this pandemic is one of the best examples that will make us really understand what it means. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. The human being is impatient, and he is always distressed when he's just touched with some sort of evil. And on the other hand, وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. And the human being is withholding when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him some good. He's stingy, he's not very generous as he's supposed to be generous. And that's why we always need people to come and remind us to be generous, to be able to give, to overcome our qualities of being stingy and just to give and donate and volunteer. إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا. But there are some exceptions. There are some people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned who are saved from these qualities or from these inner qualities that we have inside of us. He said, إِلَّا الْمُصَلِّينَ. Except those who pray. If you want to overcome anxiety, if you want to overcome this stress that you have, for example, maybe nowadays, if you want to overcome stinginess that we have sometimes inside of us, if you want to overcome them, the first quality I need to have and everybody needs to have is إِلَّا الْمُصَلِّينَ. To be one of the people who always establish prayers and are connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through prayers. إِلَّا الْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ. Those who always establish their prayers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ. Number 2, وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. Allah here is talking about donations, He's talking about sadaqat, and He's also talking about zakah. الَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ. Those people, in their money, there is a right that's known. A known fixed amount of money from their own wealth has to go to as-sa'ili wal mahrum, to the people who ask for donations, to the people who are deprived, to the people who are in need, people who are poor. In some other ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say the word ma'loom. He said الذين في أموالهم حق للسائل والمحروم in Surah Dhariyat, for example. حق للسائل والمحروم. There is a right in my wealth for people who ask, people who are needy, and people who are deprived. And Allah did not say ma'loom. He did not say it's a known right. Because in Surah Dhariyat, Allah was talking about sadaqat. There is no certain amount of money that I have to give. But when it comes to zakah, there is a certain amount of money that I have to give. And that's why he said, وَفِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. There's a certain amount of money that I have to give from my wealth, which is called zakah. And it has to go to the as-sa'ili wal-mahrum. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went on and on describing or mentioning some of the qualities of the true believers. He started by what? If you remember, he started by talking about prayers. Those who continuously perform their prayers. And then the last quality, he talked about prayers again. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. And those who properly observant of their prayers. So he talked at the beginning about prayers and at the end about prayers. So prayer, prayer, prayer. The most important thing that will take you away from this distress, from feeling bad, from anxiety, from being with like stingy, from إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا, from being scared, distressed when something evil happens to you, from being منوعة وإذا مسه الخير منوعا, from withholding when something good happens to me, or when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me something good, is to maintain your prayers and also care about the other qualities. Again, the ayat is from Ayah number 19 to 35. Let's move on to Ayah number Surah number 71, Surah Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. And we've talked before about the story of Prophet Nuh. We have taken a lot of lessons from his story throughout the Quran. Surah Hud, Surah Al-A'raf, Surah Al-Shu'ara, and some other surahs, right? But here, what I'm going to mention, inshallah ta'ala, is the methods of da'wah that Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam has used when he was making da'wah to his people. قال ربي إني دعوت قومي ليلا ونهارا. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam is an example for every da'iyah, along with our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, of course. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam is teaching us that, you know what? You don't have to stick to one method of da'wah. Sometimes all the methods of da'wah don't work nowadays. If somebody, for example, he doesn't want to change the way he's dressed because he has seen scholars or he has seen imams of the past or back home are dressed in a certain way, he doesn't want to change. And instead of, for example, having a thobe, he doesn't want to have a suit. He doesn't want to wear a shirt, for example. And he thinks if he does this, that will put him down. He will lose some of his quality if he's dressed differently. And sometimes, you know what, I was giving a lecture to some non-Muslim friends when they come to our masjid in one of our open houses that we had in our masjid. And then one time I was wearing the jubba and the hat. Normally that's traditionally what we do in our masjid, right? I don't have to wear a hat. I don't have to. It's not an obligation. There's no any narration that says you have to wear a hat. Allah just said خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ, okay? عند كل مسجد. And then after my lecture, an elderly came to me who was a non-Muslim, and she said, once I saw you, I felt that your hat is like a barrier between me and you. She said it very kindly and smiling, but at that time I started to understand that you don't have to dress in an abaya or in a thobe or in a cloak, for example, and have your hat when you're talking to non-Muslims. You don't have to. Or even when we're talking to youth. If you want to reach youth nowadays, you have to be on Facebook, you have to be on Instagram, you have to be on Twitter. You cannot just stick to one method of da'wah and think that you're going to reach youth, you're going to be able to reach non-Muslims, you're going to be able to reach everybody with one method of da'wah. That's not going to work anymore. Khalas, that's not going to fly in this generation. It's not going to happen. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam understood this very early, alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it's telling us what He used to do in Ayah Number, from Ayah Number 5. Starting from Ayah Number 5. Sayyidina Nuh says, قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي دَعَوْتُ قَوْمِي لَيْلًا وَنَهَارًا. Ya Rabb, the first method I used is I used to do da'wah day and night. Day and night. The whole time. All day long he's doing da'wah. Whenever he is, and whomever is talking to, he just does da'wah. طيب. فَلَمْ يَزِدُهُمْ دُعَائِي إِلَّا فِرَارًا. But every time I do da'wah, more and more they go farther away from me. They run farther away from me. Subhanallah. Imagine if you're given a halaqah, for example, and there's nobody is in front of you at the masjid, or if there's nobody is watching, how are you going to feel inside? It's very hurtful. But Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam didn't feel anything. He just continued to do da'wah. Different methods. He's going to now use different methods. If this method is not working, I'm going to use a different method. I'm not going to insist to do the same exact thing. No, I'm going to change my ways of da'wah just to reach people and to tell them the truth. And then he said, وَإِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ. And whenever I invite them to be forgiven by you, لِتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. They press their fingers into their ears. You know, when somebody wants to press his finger into his ear to not hear anything, he doesn't put his whole finger in his ear, only the tip of his finger. But Allah did not say جعلوا أطراف أصابعهم مثلا في أذانهم. He did not say that. He did not say they put or they press the tips of their fingers in their ears. He did not say that. He said جعلوا أصابعهم. They were exaggerating so much that they were pressing the whole finger inside, as if they are pressing the whole finger into their ears, because they don't want to hear anything. It's not just exaggerating, and they want to show Nuh alayhi salam how uncomfortable we are to listen to what you have to say. I just want you to imagine if you're doing da'wah on any platform and people do this to you. By the way, we had some of our biggest scholars in our countries, like the Grand Mufti of Egypt, for example, one of my beloved sheikhs, Sheikh Ali Gom'a, Hafizallah Ta'ala. Some students did this to him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated his ranks, and he is still who he is. Hafizahullah Ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase him in knowledge, Ya Rabbil Alameen. So, anyways, وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ. What else did they used to do? And they used to cover themselves with their clothes. We're not going to listen to you. I'm just going to cover my face. I'm going to cover my whole body. You imagine this? Somebody having his thobe, for example, and covering his head and his eyes. He doesn't want to see you when you're doing da'wah. Look how hard it is. وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا. And they protest in denial. وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. And they act very arrogantly towards me. Ya Allah. Sayyidina Nuh has faced all this, but he still changed his method of da'wah. What did he do? قَالَ ثُمَّ إِنِّي دَعَوْتُهُمْ جِهَارًا. I still did it publicly. I went to give like to talk to them in their marketplaces, on the streets, you know, in their gatherings, go to their gatherings. ثُمَّ إِنِّي دَعَوْتُهُمْ جِهَارًا. And then sometimes it doesn't work in public. ثُمَّ إِنِّي أَعْلَنْتُ لَهُمْ وَأَسْرَرْتُ لَهُمْ إِسْرَارًا. I used to go to knock doors and talk to them. Knock doors and talk to them one by one, invite them to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they still rejected his da'wah. Alayhi salatu wassalam. And so what we can learn from here is, don't give up when you do da'wah, just change your method. And don't insist on one method. And you know what, I cannot just go do da'wah in the same exact method and then I wonder why the youth are not listening to what I'm saying. Because you need to change what you're doing. Change the way you're doing da'wah. Why I have so many problems with different sects in Islamic tradition, in Muslim community? Because you don't want to change your approach. Just have the principles as they are. Don't change the principles. Just change the way you approach people. So, the next lesson is in Surah Al-Jinn. We talked before about Al-Jinn, right? And I said before, when somebody asked me, can we be possessed? And I said no, because we need to have an evidence that's قطع الثبوت والدلالة, that's 100% authentic, and it has only one meaning in our tradition, قطع الثبوت والدلالة, to prove something in the unseen world. But I have only one point here to discuss in Surah Al-Jinn. one point to discuss in Surah Al-Jinn, inshallah ta'ala. And we talked before about Al-Jinn, and the shaitan has no authority on us, as he said in Surah Ibrahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the shaitan that he's going to give a khutbah on the day of Qiyamah. He's going to say what? وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَن دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. I had no authority on you. I had no authority to control your actions. I had no authority to possess you. I had no authority to do anything except that I invited you and you obeyed me. And Ayah number 275 in Surah Al-Baqarah, كَالَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. It's not قطعي الدلالة. It has more than one meaning. And the meaning that I'm lenient towards is that it refers to الصرع والجنون, epilepsy and madness. Not just for someone to be possessed by jinn and then I start committing sins or making mistakes or being distressed at home, not doing anything. I don't go to work, I don't study, and I don't behave. And if anybody talks to me, I'm just possessed. I'm just the jinn is having an impact on me. Please don't do that. We talked about this before. But the only point that I have here to mention is, and the Nabi said, we have to be very careful of fortune tellers and people who tell us that we know the unseen, people who tell us that I can't treat you from whatever you have from the unseen world. The Nabi said, من أتى عرافا أو كاهنا لا تقبل منه صلاة 40 يوما. The Prophet said, if somebody goes to a fortune teller or a witch or a magician to ask him for some help or to ask him to solve some of his problems, قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, his salah is not going to be accepted for 40 days. Did you see that? So please don't open the door for those people. Don't open the door for them. Fortune tellers and magicians and those people. And the Prophet said also, من أتى عرافا فصدقه بما يقول. So if somebody just goes to him, to a fortune teller or a magician, just to ask him some questions or to ask him for some help, even if he doesn't believe in what he's saying, his prayer is not going to be accepted for 40 days. The Prophet said, فَإِن صَدَّقَهُ بِمَا يَقُولُ. But if he believed in what he's saying, فَقَدْ كَفَرَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ. That's very hard. He said, if he believed in what that person is saying, he has already disbelieved in what was revealed on Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Why? Because when I put my trust in someone else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he can control the unseen world, that he can change the qadr, what's going to happen in the future, that he can protect me, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's kufr in itself. I believe that someone else can control the world, can stop the evil from happening. So that's a kind of kufr, disbelief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So please, we need to close the door, because we have people who make money out of this, and they tell us, oh, I can actually treat you from jinn, I can control the unseen world, I can help you to achieve this or that, and they do what's called hijab, or something to hang in your neck. You know, it has some du'as or some adhkar, and he doesn't tell you what's inside. Just put it as a necklace or put it in your house, and he doesn't tell you what's inside. That's in itself is a kind of shirk. Stay away from those people. Don't give them that chance. As Rasulullah said, where can I find this? قال الله in Surah Al-Jinn, عالم الغيب فلا يظهر على غيبه أحدا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the knower of the unseen, disclosing none of it to anyone subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one knows Allah's unseen except if Allah wants to give some of the unseen to a prophet or an angel, for example. إلا من ارتضى من رسول, except messengers of his choice. Messengers of his choice. We don't have messengers nowadays, so nobody knows the unseen. That's in Surah Al-Jinn, verse 26, 27. What else? Yeah, Surah Al-Muzammil and Surah Al-Muddathir, we will see the same ideas are being repeated about the Day of Judgment and the Resurrection. But I want to mention one idea in Surah Al-Muzammil. Look, when we read Taraweeh, for example, as we said before, that Taraweeh, it wasn't the Sunnah of Rasulullah ﷺ to pray Taraweeh the way we pray it nowadays. It's not his Sunnah. He used to pray Qiyam al-Layl by himself. The Sahaba used to do the same thing. And then the next generations, of course, in the time of Sayyidina Umar, they started to gather people around Ubay ibn Ka'b. He did that, radiallahu anhu, Sayyidina Umar, behind Sayyidina Ubay ibn Ka'b to lead Tarawih in Jama'ah, right? And then the Sahaba and the generations after that, they started to develop the habit, which is a good habit. It's a good bid'ah. It's a good innovation here. Good innovation. To read the whole Quran, the whole Quran in Tarawih. Okay? But the question is, do I have to do this? Huh? Do I have to do this? Some people think if I cannot pray Tarawih every single day with one juz, I'm not gonna do it. We have a qaida that says al-maysur la yasqutu bil-ma'sur. One of the qawaid of usul al-fiqh, one of the principles of usul al-fiqh is that just do whatever you can. Do whatever you can. Don't say, I'm not gonna pray with few ayat because I have to do the Khatm al-Quran al-Ramadan. And you don't do what's easy because you have to do what's difficult. That's wrong. You don't do that. That's the wrong approach of Sharia. Just read whatever you can. 1 ayah, 2 ayat, 10 ayat in the whole night. That's very good in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about what I'm saying right now? In Surah Al-Muzammil, last verse, Allah was talking about Qiyamul Layl. Al-Muzammil is chapter 73. Allah is talking about ayah number 20. Allah repeated twice, فَقَرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ. فَقَرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, meaning just read what you've memorized. Just read from the Quran what you can. Read what's easy for you. There was a man who used to only recite Surah قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, Al-Ikhlas. And then the Sahaba went to talk to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam about him, because sometimes he leads the prayers and he also recites Qul Huwallahu Ahad in each rak'ah. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, why are you doing this? He said, إنها صفة الرحمن. I like it because it describes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It speaks about Tawheed, and that's why I recite Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad in every single rak'ah. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam approved him. And he even praised what he used to do. Just to recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad. I'm not saying now recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad in every single rak'ah. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying just read what you have. مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنْ. Whatever is yasir, whatever is easy for you from the Quran is good enough, inshallah ta'ala. We don't have to make khitam al-Quran. We don't have to make khitam al-Quran. But if you do it, it's a good habit, but it's not an obligation. يعني. طيب, جزاكم الله خيرا. I would like to remind you of our fundraiser tomorrow at 9:30 inshallah ta'ala. Please go to our website and our Facebook page, and also my public figure Facebook page, and register to the Zoom meeting inshallah ta'ala that we're going to have tomorrow. You have to register first, write your first and last name and your email, and you're gonna be receiving an email as a confirmation. We're gonna meet tomorrow inshallah at 9:30 for the fundraiser at the same time, but for the fundraiser. Please go now to our website and register. And as for the juz number 30, because we have to finish this series, inshallah tomorrow in our Jum'ah khutbah at 1:15, I'm going to mention the reasons that we have in juz number 30 inshallah ta'ala to finish our series inshallah azza wa jal. But that night, it's going to be our fundraiser. Please don't forget to join us tomorrow and donate generously to our new masjid project. Our community needs a new masjid, and we need to be in a bigger space, inshallah azza wa jal. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us our efforts, Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen, and to add this to our scale of hasanat. And I think I have some comments here or some questions, and I'm just going to go through very quickly, see if there's anything that I need to reflect on or to comment on. Okay, so we have here Dr. Ahmed Abu Duhair. He actually posted about our fundraiser tomorrow at 9:30. Please go to his comment and see the phone number if you have any questions, and the emails, and go to our website to register inshallah ta'ala. Brother Shakil, he said, I have enjoyed listening to your halaqat. Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu feekum ya akhi. I was so blessed to be with you the whole month. It's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we couldn't meet at the masjid, but we're still able to meet on Facebook every single day. And not only people from Regina, people outside of Regina, and even people outside of Canada can watch this, and maybe someone will benefit with some of these ideas that we have in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he will implement it and change his life. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. Please don't forget to make dua. Yes, I will, Brother Jawad. I will make now dua, inshallah ta'ala, before we end this halaqah. And as I said, the 30th juz, inshallah, is going to be tomorrow at 1:15. 1:15 at Jum'ah time. I'm gonna make it very brief, inshallah ta'ala, the lessons of the last juz. And I'm gonna also give the description of Eid prayer on Eid day, or maybe tomorrow in Jum'ah. You know, because we have two options to pray Eid. Just like Salat al-Tasabih. When people ask me about Salat al-Tasabih, I said that you can just pray 2 rak'at. It doesn't have to be in a certain way. You can just be 2 rak'at, and with the intention of Tasabih. Salat al-Eid is as well. If you cannot pray it in Jama'ah, you can pray it at home, just 2 rak'at of duha. And that's the opinion of Sayyidina Abu Hanifa al-Nu'man, and that's for Salat al-Tasabih. That's the opinion of Abdullah ibn Mubarak radiallahu anhu. Let's give a quick dua, inshallah ta'ala. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين، صل عليه في الآخرين، وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده معصوما، ولا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم علمنا ما جهلنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا، وإلى غيرك لا تكلنا، ومن شرور خلقك سلمنا. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وتولنا فيمن توليت، وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت، وقنا واصرف عنا برحمتك شر ما قضيت، إنك سبحانك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. 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 اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا. اللهم لا تخرجنا من رمضان إلا وقد غفرت لنا. اللهم لا تخرجنا من رمضان إلا بذنب مغفور، وسعي مشكور، وتجارة لن تبور. اللهم لا تخرجنا من رمضان إلا بذنب مغفور، وسعي مشكور، وتجارة لن تبور. اللهم اغفر لنا هزلنا وجدنا وخطأنا وعمدنا وكل ذلك عندنا. اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسرفنا وما أعلنا وما أسررنا وما أنت أعلم به منا. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر، لا إله إلا أنت. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام وسيء الأسقام. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام وسيء الأسقام. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام وسيء الأسقام. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من جهد البلاء ودرك الشقاء وسوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من جهد البلاء ودرك الشقاء وسوء القضاء وشماتة الأعداء. اللهم إنا عبيدك بنو عبيدك بنو إمائك، نواصينا بيدك، ماض فينا حكمك، عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك، أو أنزلته في كتابك، أو علمته أحدا من خلقك، أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك، أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا وجلاء أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا. اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن واجعله لنا إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة. ذكرنا منه ما نسينا، علمنا منه ما جهلنا، وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وأطراف النهار على الوجه الذي يرضيك عنا، واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين. آمين آمين آمين. وصل اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Please don't forget to attend the khutbah tomorrow, because I'm gonna give the tafsir of the last juz inshallah ta'ala tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. And سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.